Hey everyone, how are you doing? This is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for joining me today on this podcast that is called A Better Way with Kirsten podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do that as well. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then there I would really appreciate a 5-star rating and review because that will help people to find this podcast and get help as well. Today, we're going to talk about positivity and optimism and how to use them right if you have chronic sensations. But of course, not only that, positivity and optimism are perfect, are great things for life in general, but especially if you are dealing with these chronic sensations and symptoms known as TMS, meaning that they are not originating from a tissue damage, broken bone, torn ligament, something like that, but they are coming from heightened nervous system and stress. This is known as TMS. Then for these cases, positivity and optimism are really, really important so that we can heal. And actually, positivity and optimism are also great if you really do have a tissue damage, because there has been a lot of research showing that people's mindset really impact their speed of their recovery positively, of course. But I want to make sure that we understand that this is not about this like fake positivity and overlooking the negative feelings that we might be having. When I say fake positivity, I mean like putting on this face that everything is always so perfect, even though we don't feel very good, or even if you're actually angry inside. And then we say, oh, everything's so great. I'm feeling so positive today. I'm fine. Everything's perfect. Everything's so great. So if you are not acknowledging these negative emotions, then just putting this positive face on may not work for you very well, because we know that it is the emotions that are causing largely these chronic sensations. And if we are not acknowledging them, then they cannot just be they just cannot come out of our body and come out of our nervous system. They cannot be released, and then they continue to cause these pains and troubles that we are having. So it is very important to acknowledge that, I'm feeling sad right now. I'm feeling really angry. I'm feeling really frustrated. And saying these words out, like literally saying these words out to yourself, that will actually take down this intense brain activity, and you will start calming down and feel kind of more settled. This is actually a very important thing, and it has been shown again in a lot of research that when you just say the emotion out loud instead of pushing it down, then you will actually start getting a little bit of relief. And this is, of course, going to be good for you if you're dealing with these chronic sensations. I want to also mention that Jim Prusak is absolutely wonderful talking about this emotional health for chronic sensations. So I'm going to put his YouTube link in the description below. Please go ahead and check out what he has to say about emotions. For me, this has been probably the most important thing that I have done in my own chronic sensation healing. So I really want to make sure that he gets a credit, and that you go check out his videos, because he's really good. And I think a lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people only focus on, go back to life and start doing normal things again, which are all true. But if this isn't enough, you have to kind of dig deeper. So that's why I think Jim is doing a really, really great job explaining this emotional part and how this is contributed to our chronic sensations. Make sure that you check out what he has to say about it. All right. So like I said, we have to address our negative emotions, these heavy, uncomfortable emotions. And then I would like to say we kind of close the loop with some positivity, right? So when you get through this anger, right, you're like, oh, everything's so annoying. I'm so pissed. I'm really angry right now. You're going to let yourself feel it. It probably comes up in your body, and somehow, maybe your body wants to do something. So just to give you an example, yesterday and 2 days ago, actually, I had a lot of anger because my computer broke, and it is very annoying for most people, but especially if all your work is on your computer. And it was really, really frustrating. I had to do a lot of things. My husband helped me out, very, very helpful for that. But we were both kind of like on edge, or like really angry, and like trying to restore these things, and couldn't restore most of the things. And it was just a mess. And obviously I was very, very angry. And I did throw some things, and I did punch the pillow, because I've now learned that I have to like let this thing out. It is just so frustrating. Then what happens after that? then you can like close the circle, close the loop and say, okay, what can I learn from this? Save your work, right? And also when you actually kind of zoom out, you see, okay, here I am, like worrying so much about one thing, that is this computer, right? While I actually have all these really, really great things in my life too, right? And what I did yesterday after I had this like intense like anger, like letting this out, I remembered that years ago I learned about Abraham Hicks, who is also on YouTube. You can check them out. But their thing is law of attraction, right? They always talk about how you feel is how you kind of can predict what's happening in the future for you. So the goal is to raise your vibration, get into a more positive mind state, and then that's how things start to feel lighter, more positive things start happening, and so on. And a couple of years ago, when I found Abraham Hicks, I just took in as much as I could and I loved it. It was great. And now I had kind of forgotten about it. But yesterday I was like, yes, I know what I need to do. I'm going to go and get that book that's sitting in my bookshelf, and I'm going to read a couple pages. And I did, and it really did lift my mood, right? They're talking about how to raise your vibration, how to emotionally come into like a higher level. What are the things that you can do? And I just did a couple of little things, and granted, I started to feel a lot easier. But I want to emphasize again, this didn't happen just when I was like in the middle of my anger, like, okay, let's cover this up. Let's not be angry. Let's go see what Abraham has to say, how to be more positive. It wasn't like that. It was like, okay, I actually have to feel this thing, let it out, admit that it's here. And then let's see what we can do about it, how we can lift our moods. So I read the book and I did feel more grateful. And I started thinking, okay, I can go to the gym now. I'm really grateful that that my health is so good. There's nothing physically wrong with me. I can go and lift some weights. I can do one of my favorite things, which is lifting weights. I'm really grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I'm getting so much help with this computer thing. I don't have to figure this out myself. It was really good. And one thing that I often notice when I am able to raise my energy level, like positive energy level and the vibrational level, is that I notice that more people, random people, start coming to me, start talking to me. This happens every time when I do something like this, when I make like a conscious decision. Okay, I'm just gonna lift my mood because I'm noticing that I'm kind of feeling really down and really heavy. And I go to the gym, and then at the door, I meet this woman, and she starts telling me, the first sentence she says is like, oh, I hate it when I'm doing this, but I'm so happy when it's done. Obviously, she was talking about her workouts, and we started talking. And, she told me that she started training about a year ago, and it has really changed her life. And she's so grateful that she started. And even though she doesn't enjoy doing these hard workouts every time, she's so grateful when she does do them because she feels amazing afterwards. Her bones have gotten so much stronger. She notices her muscles have gotten so much stronger. She told me that she's 62 years old and she really needs that strength now. And then we talked and talked and talked, and it was really great. It wasn't just like small talk, like, oh, cute shoes. It wasn't like that. It was like actual conversation with a stranger. And I knew the second it happened, I was like, okay, yes, because I had actually worked on my emotional space, right? I have made this decision to raise my energetical level, and my emotions come to a better place out of that anger place and come to like a higher place. And then this started happening. So I go to the gym, I do my workout, and after I finish my bench press and I write my numbers down, I have a notebook where I write all my numbers down. Then this other woman walks up to me and she says, hey, what is this that you're doing? Are you writing everything down that you did? Why are you doing this? What's the benefit of this? Should I do this? And then she told me that she's totally new to weightlifting. She has been doing lots of cardio before, but now she's trying to get started with, going to the gym because she has heard that this is really good for the body, which it is. Very smart woman. So I was able to help her a little bit, explain what I'm doing, why I'm doing this, and why she should do it too. And she was truly grateful. And we had a good conversation. Again, it wasn't just like a small chit chat, like complimenting somebody on their like hair, which is fine too. It's nothing bad about that. But actually it shows that it went deeper. We actually had a real conversation. And I know, coming back again to the same point, it is because I was more positive. I was more lighter. I was maybe more approachable. I don't know. But it feels pleasant to be this way. So I really want to encourage you to find in your everyday life two ways to lift your mood a little bit without ignoring the hard emotions, right? So ignoring them will keep them in and will keep your symptoms going too. But if you can lighten up your mood a little bit, find little positive things that you like, that will actually make you feel better. You have more connections with other people. You just feel happier. And when you feel happier, your brain really likes it. It does. Because I think you've felt it. Like if you feel really heavy, really down, your sensations are worse too. It's like every time, it's pretty much every time I notice this, like there's a correlation. And when I feel really positive, I'm, with good people, having fun, sensations are down. It happens to a lot of people. Start paying attention to it if you haven't paid attention to it yet. So now the question is, how can we kind of like lift our moods on a regular basis, right? So that the baseline is now a little bit higher. The baseline is a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. It's not like here down. It's like negativity, heaviness. Oh no, there's no way out, blah, blah, blah. So not here, but here, a little bit higher, a little bit softer, a little bit gentler, a little bit more fun, a little bit more light. How can we get there? So think about it. What brings you joy that way? And I want to also share with you one kind of fun experiment we did with my husband last weekend. Totally not planned, but it worked out great. And I think this could be a great tip for you too. So we went on a hike. It was a 5-mile hike, super gorgeous weather, escaped the Phoenix heat, which was like 111 degrees here. So we drove out a little bit and it was normal. It was like mid-90s, perfect weather and nice afternoon hike. And then on our last mile, I told my husband, hey, let's try this thing. Let's put a smile on our face and just keep that smile on our face the whole time, the last mile, until we get to the end of the hike. And let's just do it. It's fun, right? And so we did. We both did it. And like it literally lifted our moods. It's not that we were in a bad mood before. We were not. But it did lift our moods even more. And a couple of really fun things happened. So as soon as I had said it, and we had started, doing it, putting a smile on our faces, I saw this really beautiful tree that had these long vines with literally heart-shaped leaves on it. And it was just so beautiful. It was like, oh my God, it's like, it's great. And I don't know if I had noticed it, if I hadn't done this thing before, if I hadn't decided I'm going to smile now and just, be kind of happier or lift my mood. I don't know if I would have noticed it otherwise. Maybe. I can't tell you, but I did notice it now. And this also reminded me of Mel Robbins' book, The High Five Habit. If you haven't read it, I recommend. It's a great book. So there she talks about something in the brain that's called reticular activating system, which means that if you put some sort of filter into your brain, you start getting more of that stuff. And actually heart-shaped things was her example. So she said, I told my brain that I want to start seeing heart-shaped things or items, like random things, little rocks on the floor or on the ground or leaves on the trees or whatever, right? Any heart-shaped objects. And then she started seeing them. And that tells us you can really find what you're looking for if you just put this filter into your brain, this filter of positivity and lightheartedness and feel good, right? So that was one thing that happened. I started seeing these vines with these beautiful leaves. And the other thing, after a couple of minutes, maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes or so of like keeping a smile on my face, I was like, I feel really good energy. I want to run. So I started jogging. I don't really jog on a regular basis at all. I do hikes and stuff, but I don't do any jogging. But I felt, oh, this feels so good. And I started running. I had all the energy for it. It felt absolutely amazing. I just felt even better than before. And my husband too, he said, yeah, I feel like really uplifted, really positive. And it was such a nice experiment. And I decided I'm going to do more of this. I'm going to start waking up in the morning. And first thing, I want to put a smile on my face and see what happens, because I think it really feeds positivity into you and raises that baseline, right? This baseline level, like where your mind is most of the time. And when you do that, you are going to feel better, because the chronic sensations in the body are coming a lot of times from emotions, as you know. And then if you can now experience more positive emotions, then the brains are going to feel better. We're going to feel happier. Excuse me. And we're going to likely have less chronic sensations as well. So this is what I have for you today. Positivity, optimism. Yes, really, really great for chronic sensation recovery and for life overall. But also don't bypass your deep, heavy emotions. You can't do that. Don't ignore them. Don't just put on this like fake positivity. Oh, everything is so great when it's not. So admit it. Yes, I feel like shit today. And then, go through the processing, whatever you feel like you need to punch or yell or scream or stomp your feet or cry, whatever it is, just do it and then close the loop with something positive. And then on a day-to-day basis, regular basis, try to see how can I elevate my mood regularly so that I can feel better. All right, before we wrap up today, I want to make sure that you know and already maybe have my 14-day course, which is called Strong and Sensitive. This course is a course for highly sensitive people and people who have TMS, these chronic sensations in their body that I'm talking about here. And this course has 2 parts. The first part is about emotions and mindset and what can we do in that way to reduce our sensations. There's a lot we can do. We're talking about certain personality traits. You can check out the previous episode for that too, and emotions. And then the second part is the physical part. What can we do physically? And this is not so that our physical exercise is going to heal our symptoms, because these symptoms are not physical in nature, right? They're not coming from tissue damage. But by doing physical exercise, we will prove our brains that we are not afraid of that pain or that symptom that's bugging us. So when we start exercising, we're getting stronger in our minds too. And this I have seen has been so valuable for a lot of people. I actually have just recently somebody who did my free course, then she did my beginner strength training program, and she's now, after 8 weeks of doing the beginner level program, up leveling and going to the intermediate level program. So this is absolutely wonderful for a person who had so many years of chronic fatigue and other TMS symptoms. It is doable. So make sure that you get that program. It is in the show notes. It is in the YouTube description as well. It's called Strong and Sensitive, 100% free, 14-day program. And during that time, you get 1 lesson into your inbox delivered every single day. You can just listen to it while you're doing something else. You don't have to sit and focus hard on it. You can, listen to it on your drive, while you're doing dishes, while you're doing some gardening, whatever you're doing. You can always listen to that. All right, this is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.